From the air, Iceland looks less like a finished country than a landscape still being assembled. Black lava meets white ice. Rivers spread across empty plains. Waterfalls fall from old sea cliffs, and steam rises where the ground is still hot. The island covers roughly 103,000 square kilometers in the North Atlantic, between Greenland and northern Europe. Its population is small, but its image is enormous. A place where the machinery of Earth can be seen almost everywhere. To understand Iceland, begin with its position. This is not simply an island near the Arctic. It is a high point on a vast underwater mountain chain, lifted above the ocean by forces that continue to reshape it today. Iceland sits astride the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the boundary where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates move apart. Most of this ridge lies deep beneath the sea, but here it rises into daylight. At Thingvellir, long fissures and fault scarps make the spreading zone visible in the landscape. The plates do not separate along one neat crack. The deformation is distributed across valleys, fractures, and volcanic systems. Beneath them, unusually strong volcanic activity supplies fresh magma. Over millions of years, repeated eruptions built enough rock to hold an island above the waves. The result is a country that is geologically young, restless, and continuously renewed. Every lava field is a page from that construction story. Volcanism is not an interruption to Icelandic geography. It is the process that created it. Long fissure eruptions pour fluid basalt across broad areas, while central volcanoes can produce ash, lava, and meltwater floods. In the south, Hekla became one of the island's best-known volcanoes. Beneath the great ice caps, other volcanic systems remain hidden until heat breaks through ice. Recent eruptions on the Reykjavik Peninsula have shown how quickly glowing lava can enter roads, utilities, and settled landscapes. Yet the same volcanic ground later weathers into soil, grows moss, redirects rivers, and becomes part of daily life. From above, young lava is dark and sharp-edged. Older flows soften into green, revealing time through color. Ice covers the high interior and sends long outlet glaciers toward the lowlands. Vatnaj. Kull is the largest ice cap in Iceland and one of the largest in Europe by volume. Its surface seems calm from a distance, but the ice is always moving under gravity. Crevices open, blue ice is exposed, and sediment is carried toward the coast. At J, Kulls, RL. N, icebergs calve into a lagoon before drifting toward the Atlantic. Nearby, fragments wash onto black sand, turning the shoreline into a temporary field of glass. Iceland's glaciers store water, shape valleys, and record climate. Their retreat also exposes new ground, changes rivers, and makes a changing climate visible on a human timescale. Water is Iceland's great sculptor. Snow and glacier melt descend from the interior, crossing lava fields and ancient coastal steppes. At Seljalandsfoss, water falls from a cliff that once faced the sea. At Eskay, Gafoss, a broad curtain drops from the same southern escarpment. Farther north, rivers cut through darker canyons and carry enormous seasonal flows. These waterfalls are beautiful, but they also reveal the island's structure. Uplifted shorelines, resistant basalt layers, and valleys excavated by ice. The rivers continue beyond the postcard view, spreading sediment across outwash plains before reaching the ocean. They also feed reservoirs and turbines, connecting wild uplands to Iceland's modern energy system. Along the south coast, the Atlantic attacks a shoreline made from volcanic rock. Waves grind basalt into black sand, while cliffs retreat into arches, caves, and offshore stacks. Reynisfjara is the clearest expression of this coast, a dark beach beneath columnar basalt, facing powerful and unpredictable waves. The color is not a filter. It comes from young volcanic material that has not yet been bleached or mixed with pale continental sand. Elsewhere, broad outwash plains show where glacial floods have delivered sediment faster than the sea can remove it. Iceland's coast is therefore never one thing. It can be a cliff, a delta, a lava shore, or a beach rebuilt after every storm. The same heat that drives volcanoes also supports modern life. In geothermal areas, groundwater circulates through hot rock and returns as steam, boiling pools, and mineral-rich water. Iceland uses this resource directly to heat buildings and greenhouses, and geothermal stations also generate electricity. Hydropower supplies much of the rest, using rivers descending from the highlands. Together, these resources give Iceland an electricity system dominated by renewable generation. The landscape carries the infrastructure openly. Pipelines cross lava fields, steam plumes mark power stations, and reservoirs sit below glaciers. This does not remove environmental trade-offs, but it shows how geology can become part of a national energy strategy rather than remaining only a natural hazard. Reykjavik occupies a low peninsula on Iceland's southwest coast, facing Faxafell, Bay and distant mountains. It is a small capital by global standards, yet it anchors the country's population, government, universities, and creative industries. Colorful roofs spread outward from the old harbor, while newer districts follow roads and geothermal heating networks across the peninsula. The city's scale reflects a national pattern. Most people live in the southwest, while large parts of the interior remain uninhabited. From above, Reykjavik is not separate from nature. Ocean, lava fields, and winter weather press close to every neighborhood. The capital functions because Iceland has learned to concentrate services without losing access to the open landscape around it. Permanent settlement began in the late 9th century, largely with Norse migrants and people from the British Isles. Farms formed along the habitable coast, where grass, fishing grounds, and boat access made survival possible. Around the year 930, leaders established the at Thingvellir. For centuries, people traveled there to make laws, settle disputes, and exchange news in an open-air assembly. The location joined politics to geography, a broad plain inside the visible Rift Valley. Iceland later came under Norwegian and then Danish rule before becoming a republic in 1944. Thingvellir remains a national symbol because it holds both stories at once: the movement of continents and the long effort to organize a society on a remote island. Icelandic preserves a close relationship to the language of the medieval Norse world. Modern speakers can approach texts that are centuries old with a continuity rare in Europe. The sagas transformed family histories, voyages, and feuds into some of the North Atlantic's most influential literature. Names also carry a distinct structure. Many Icelanders use patronymics or matronymics rather than a fixed family surname. Culture is not frozen in the past, however. Reykjavik supports music, design, film, and publishing with an influence far beyond the country's population. The tension is productive. Iceland protects linguistic continuity while remaining deeply connected to global culture, using an old language to describe a modern society and a landscape that keeps producing new events. For much of Iceland's history, the sea was the main economic horizon. Cod and other North Atlantic fisheries supported coastal towns, exports, and political debates over control of surrounding waters. Fishing remains important, but the economy is now broader. Abundant electricity supports energy-intensive industry, including aluminum smelting. Software, research, finance, tourism, and creative work are concentrated around the capital region. The transformation is visible from above. Modern harbors beside old fishing settlements, power lines crossing empty valleys, and roads carrying visitors toward landscapes once known mainly to local farmers. Iceland's challenge is to benefit from global demand without exhausting the ecosystems and places that make the island valuable in the first place. Route 1 forms a practical loop around much of the island, linking communities that face inward toward mountains and outward toward the sea. Seen from above, the road is a thin line through lava, farmland, sand, and snow. It rarely conquers the terrain, it negotiates with it. Along the coast, seabird colonies crowd cliffs during the breeding season. Puffins use grassy burrows above the ocean, while seals rest on quiet shores and whales feed offshore. The Icelandic horse, shaped by centuries of isolation, remains part of the farmed lowlands. Wildlife here is strongly seasonal. Summer brings long light and dense activity. Winter compresses movement, closes routes, and reminds every settlement that access in Iceland is always conditional. Iceland is often described through opposites, but from above those opposites form one system. Volcanoes build rock, glaciers grind it down, rivers carry it to a coast reshaped by the Atlantic. Heat from below warms cities, while water from above generates power. A small society has settled the narrow habitable margins and learned to read signs from weather, sea, ice, and stone. The island is not untouched, and it is not timeless. Tourism, industry, climate change, and renewed eruptions are altering it now. That is what makes Iceland more than a collection of spectacular views. It is a living demonstration that geography is active. The ground moves, the ice retreats, the coast changes, and the country continues to become itself.